Okay, we are back, and I continue with my question from Johnny. Johnny, what was the reaction of your family when you decided to join New Ground?
So my grandfather, who is actually Orthodox, he was a little bit reluctant to let me go into the program because, like Aziza explained, he believed that I would come back a little bit less connected to my own Jewish faith. Um, but for the most part, my family was, my parents and my grandmother were happy that I was going into this program, and we're happy that I was able to have this opportunity to actually um, learn more about the other group and learn about my um, Muslim colleagues. Um, and so, just to go on to what Aziza was explaining, actually, I think we proved my grandfather wrong. When I came back, and actually, I think I found. I mean, I was always a very spiritual man, but um, I really found a deeper love for my religion, a connection to my my Jewish heritage. But at the same time, like I said, I want to continue to expand um, my knowledge on Islamic culture and Islamic the religion itself. Yeah.
Okay, I think that uh, the number of the Iranian Jewish student you have might be less than the other groups. Is that true?
I don't know. I feel like
We had two this year.
the two this year. I mean, any one group, a cohort doesn't go beyond. So like 20 people graduated this year. So you have 10 Muslims, 10 Jews. So of the 10 Jews, you had two who were Persian or Iranian, right? So, and then you also had other communities represented. So in the big picture of kind of like the small number of folks that we take, that I would consider a good representation.
So, what do you recommend to the Iranian Jewish families?
Um, I think it's very important for Iranian Jews to continue to expand out of this bubble that we've sort of created for ourselves. I think some people do already have like we have Muslim Persian friends, but I think we need to take a further steps to actually really get connected with our community beyond our Jewish Persian community, and to really see what it's like what life is really like on the outside of, let's say, our own bubble, and continue to work in groups, the interfaith groups like this, like Magic, and our young or our young adults group, and continue to work to actually get us involved in the community.
Sarah, what is your plan for the future?
In interfaith work or
No, in interfaith work.
okay.
Now you're graduated from New Ground. What's next step?
My next steps are definitely being in touch with New Ground for the rest of my life. And I also started going to the actual program of Righteous Conversations this summer, which I'm really grateful of. And I already started like telling the program to my friends and the people in my community who might like be a little hesitant to get in touch. And I definitely talk about it whenever I meet someone new. Maybe they don't like it, but that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm spreading the word, and if there's any suggestions for any kind of interfaith work, I'm open to it.
In your family life, do you have relationship with the people from different religion in the United States?
Yes, my sister-in-law was an Orthodox Christian, and we love her, and she loves us. So we have it in the family as well.
How about the Jewish friends?
Jewish friends? Oh, through New Ground, I made really good connections and friendships, and we're like always in touch. We support one another, and I think New Ground's goal kind of came true. And yeah, I have really close friends.
Is it right if I say that if you have connection with the other religion, like the Muslim and Jews, with the other friend from different religion, when you come to the New Ground, you can have a better relationship and more understanding. And if you don't have any exposure to the other religion, that's a good place to find out friends from different religion.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I know that you have a program or project, a New Ground, and a beautiful project. And you can tell me, anybody who's volunteered to talk about that project, Aziza, do you want to start and assign the assignment to the other people to talk about it?
I would love to if I can
Now
begin
you run the show.
and have everyone else chime in. So relationship is a critical part of what we do. And people who go through our program, like we talk about Islamophobia, we talk about anti-Semitism, we talk about what it means to be a minority faith in America, and all these different pieces and these parts of how they form our identities. And then towards the end of the program, we ask people to choose a project of impact that they want to share with people around them. And so this year's last Magic cohort decided they wanted to tell a story about Abdul Hussein Sardari, who is an Iranian diplomat. He was the embassy ambassador to France from Iran. And he had a very dear friend named Ibrahim Muradi. And it's because of their friendship and their relationship that eventually Sardari created argument after argument to save Iranian Jews in France during the Holocaust. And it's one of these incredible stories that I never grew up hearing, but definitely one that made a huge difference in a number of lives. And it kind of underscores the impact and the importance of you never know what one relationship will do for the world, and what will do for your immediate world. And so this film was done in partnership with the Righteous Conversations Project, which Lily is a part of. And because when we work in collaboration and we work connected with other folks, we see that it amplifies and it multiplies. So we have well over 5,000 views right now on social media, and we're telling the story. And so these young leaders have gone to speak to 30 Years After, which is a young professional Jewish group, and we'll go anywhere where people are willing to hear the story, because it's an important story about relationship between a Muslim and a Jew, who are willing to take great risks sometimes to their own safety, to help and be there for each other and the people who they also love.
You know, similar thing happened in Germany when the Iranian consulate issued Iranian passport for the German Jews to get them out of the Nazi, occupation and send them to Iran. And there's a movie about that we discussed. It's a Madar Seftarje. So I might send you a copy of that.
Please do.
But you have to learn
Please do.
Farsi first.
Yeah. Hopefully you have a good translator. I can enjoy it.
Yeah,
with
you can ask Johnny to translate for you.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Do you want to, Lily, do you want to talk about the project, who's involved and how many people are involved?
Right.
And where people can watch that program?
Right. Okay. So you can watch it on YouTube through the Newgrounds channel. And it's called Seeds of Partnership, a Sardari and Moradi story. Or you can watch it on Vimeo through Righteous Conversations Project.
How long is the video?
It is just 6 minutes with credits. Yeah.
6 minutes.
So
Okay.
a short piece of time to watch it. And the process, after they had chosen this story to tell, then Righteous Conversations Project came in to give them the resources, and me, I'm an animator, to help them learn how to animate this story. So first, we wanted someone to come in and tell the story directly to us as a group. So we had Mustafa Hussein, who's a postdoctoral fellow at USC's School of Religion. He came and told that to us as a group, and we filmed him telling the story and used his voice to narrate the entire thing, along then additionally with students' voices. And then we had spread out over a few months 3 sessions, I think, to actually animate the film, which is a very short amount of time, especially for animation, which takes a long time. But what's nice about animation is that the students can take little chunks of this story and over this very slow process, meditate on it for a couple hours at a time. And then we have this not only this sort of visual log of Sardari's story, but it's like a visual journal of the students' emotions as they are sitting there and thinking about the whole story as they're animating it. Makes something very beautiful.
Okay. So they can go to can you give the address one more time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think it's easier if you go to the Newgrounds channel on YouTube and look for Seeds of Partnership, the Sardari and Moradi story.
Yeah, and you can find our channel. It's at MJ Newground.
They can go to my Facebook.
Yes, thank you for posting it.
Yeah.
And we would ask that when you watch this film, that you take a moment to share and post and ask
Yeah,
other people to
it
watch
was
and post.
Very interesting. And is it in your website too?
Yes, it's on our website, but it's just a little bit harder to find. It's easier on YouTube.
Okay. But the link to the YouTube could be there. What's your best website address?
So it's mjnewground.org.
MJ. Okay. Do you want to talk about it or show a part? I don't know. How do you want to make our audience familiar with it?
It seems like it would be hard to play a part, although I could off of my phone, but maybe you can talk about it a bit. Then I could come up with.
That sounds good. If you could cue it up and we
Yeah.
can hear from Johnny and Sarah. So, why did you decide to do this story?
So for me, at least, like I've spoken about before, being a Persian Jew has really been my defining character and identity throughout my life. And so when I first heard about this story, and when we were presented a variety of different stories, the story about Sardari really stuck out to me. And I was very intrigued to see that how actually my background, my history, my heritage was all in this one story. And so for me, it was a no-brainer to actually go with this story and to really push to make this happen and to learn more about this. Yeah.
Sarah, do you think that we might have the similar stories in the Turkish history about the way that the Turkish government or Turkish people helped the Jewish people to escape from Germany? Because we know that Morocco did the same thing and the Turkey did the same thing for the Jewish people too.
I know that for the Jewish people from Spain, the Ottoman Empire helped them to come, but I don't know a specific history, like a story in Turkey during the Holocaust, but I know that we had a lot of people come into Turkey. Well, I'll actually research that. That's a really good topic. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? In Spain, the Jewish Muslim had the same dilemma.
Yes.
And in most of the history, the Muslim and Jews share, this Islamophobia and anti-Semitism together.
Yeah.
And the same thing that happened to the Jews happened to the Muslim too.
Yes.
We can see what happened to the Muslims in Serbia and all of those stories. It's interesting to go back to the history and learn about it. So what do you want to do? Do you want to play a part of it?
Yeah,
or?
I can play and you can tell me how it sounds.
Okay, we can. We are going to listen this from Lily's cell phone. But if the voice is not proper, I apologize. Let's see if we can go forward and we continue.
In 1940, after the Nazis occupied France, Sadegh found himself running the affairs of the Iranian legation.
Because of the Nazi occupation, the entire Iranian Jewish community was stranded there with no passports and no way to escape persecution.
Abdul Hussein Sadegh, working as the Iranian ambassador in Paris, was living a very comfortable life.
He had a BMW motorcycle and an apartment in Paris.
When the Nazis occupied France, Iran was a neutral state, and Sardari wanted to maintain friendly agreements between Iran and Germany.
To cultivate that relationship between the Iranian government and Nazi officials, he organized grand events.
He wanted to understand how they thought, so he could outsmart them in order to protect Iranians in France.
Sadegh went to expatriate Iranians living in Paris. He collected their names, their address, and their properties. He composed a comprehensive list. The Iranian passports didn't have a place for religion. It wasn't clear to the Nazis who was Jewish and who was not.
So the Nazis instructed the citizens to go to police stations and identify themselves. There are thousands of Iranian Jews in France at the time. To protect them.
Okay, this was a interesting part of the project that I want to thank you all for helping on that. And I think that it's time for everybody in the audience to educate ourselves and go to the YouTube and go to the Newground YouTube and listen to the Sardar Amradi video and project that would be very heartwarming. And the good deed was done a long time ago. Now it's being discussed in the new generation, and it's very impressive. I think that there are a lot of things, there are more things to learn from each other, and that's the whole idea of the program that I have. Unfortunately, now particularly Iranian community are very different than what they were in Iran. We were not as separated that we are here at Iran. I think that throughout the school and, at the university, I had friends from every religion, and we were going to each other's home, and we had good relationship. And I still have the very good relationship with my Jewish friends, my Baha'i friends, my Christian friends, and my Zoroastrian friends. And I never felt any different between me and them because of the religion. I like the people because of their personality, not because of the religion. I have a lot of Jewish friends that I prefer over some of the Muslims in the community, and I have a lot of Muslim friends that I prefer them over some of the Jews in the community. So the personality of the people are most important factor. And unfortunately, that's being missed, and the people judge each other based on their religion and their beliefs. And I really appreciate what you're doing, Aziza. And I think that you have to talk about Rabbi Sarah Bassin, who was one of the founder of this program, that she's always in our programs too. And it's a great pleasure to have both of you again to the program. Now, I think that any of you, we start from Lily and go around that desk and see whatever you want to say as your final word.
I think I want to add on to what Johnny and Sarah were saying about watching the students maybe learn more about their own faith. One of the things that the name of this video comes from, Seeds of Partnership, is that we ended up talking a lot about pomegranates, in part because the person who told us the story, Mustafa Hussein, talked about how there were symbols of pomegranates both in Muslim culture and Jewish culture, and that also there were lines or things that overlapped. So in our film, we talk about the line, to save one person is to save the world, which also overlapped between the Quran and the Talmud. And I watched students too think, well, what are other lines that are in these texts that overlap? And then they started to learn more about each other, but also about themselves. And it was very
Thank
beautiful.
you. Sarah?
So, like you said, we have a lot of similarities than differences in our history and in our lives, and I think like in a time when Islamophobia and anti-Semitism on rise like never before, I think we should look on our similarities than our differences.
Johnny?
I think for me is sort of breaking down the stigma that society has put together because of our differences, our religious differences, and to understand that the more that we continue to perpetuate the stigma and to let the stigma live on, we are actually furthering our ignorance, and we block ourselves from so much knowledge and so many different relationships that we get to form with people, regardless of religion. And And if we see that life is actually goes beyond this, just this little difference, this one difference, just religion, and we see, like you were talking about, Doctor, about who these people are and who we all are as one humankind and one people, we really get to see the beauty of life and the beauty of one another, and just as like a call to action for people to continue to take it upon themselves to work in interfaith groups.
You have 30 seconds for you guys.
So I give the last 30 seconds to the Noble Quran, which says, push forward in ways that are better so that between whom you have enmity become your dearest friend. And I think if we can really stay true to that pushing forward with what is better and not having to be like the best and the brightest all the time, but instead to respond in ways that bring out the best in people, we will see the world in a different way.
Thank you. It was a great honor for me to have the new generation in my program, and it's very heartwarming that there are people in the younger group who are working to bring the community together. I want to thank you all for coming. Hopefully I see you again in this program. I want to thank Zohre for the wonderful program, and thank all of the audience to listen to us, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
This
you.
is wonderful.
Thank you.